evening, everyone. I'm Laura Ingraham. This is the Ingraham Angle from Washington tonight. The unserious woman. That's the focus of tonight's angle. Democrats are in a box. They're trapped inside, and it's a box of their own making. Slowly but surely, Kamala Harris is being exposed for what she is, an empty pantsuit. Even when obvious questions are asked, she won't answer them.
You have changed your position on so many things. You were against fracking, now you're for it. You supported looser immigration policies, now you're tightening them up. You were for Medicare for all, now you're not. So many that people don't truly know what you believe or what you stand for, and I know you've heard that.
In the last 4 years, I have been Vice President of the United States, and I have been traveling our country, and I have been listening to folks and seeking what is possible in terms of common ground. I believe in building consensus. We are a diverse people, geographically, regionally, in terms of where we are in our backgrounds. And what the American people do want is that we have leaders who can build consensus, where we can figure out compromise and understand it's not a bad thing, as long as you don't compromise your values, to find common sense solutions. And that has been my approach.
How does that explain the flip-flopping again? Well, after this interview, Americans will understand why that the campaign had to keep her so sheltered. But that strategy allowed Donald Trump to run the table. And since the debate, he's been on the move almost without a break. He's the Energizer Bunny candidate, which is making the media and Democrats very, very anxious.
She's got such a big problem with men. I think there's an undercount of the Trump vote. I think there is misogynation in all of this, black and white men. Big problem, but also the business world. They don't think she is serious. They don't think she's a heavyweight.
Because she's not a heavyweight. Now think about it. Since the coup against Biden, they've tried to promote her as the true change candidate.
I think people are exhausted, and they're ready to turn the page and chart a new way forward. Yeah. I believe in my soul and heart the American people are ready to turn the page. I think we all know it's time to turn the page. It's time to turn the page. Well, folks, it's time to turn the page.
But today on The View, Kamala blew up her own narrative.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
Nothing that comes to mind. So much for being the change candidate. How does she not have a prepared answer for that question, by the way? Kamala Harris just wrote a devastating campaign commercial for the Trump campaign. Inflation, Afghanistan, the border, all a disaster under Biden, and she can't think of anything she'd do differently? Has the woman not seen the right track, wrong track surveys that are out there? Yeah, not good. If you like the direction that we're going in as a country, high gas prices, high grocery bills, the high cost of insurance, going to take away your car, the gas-powered car, healthcare costs, Kamala is definitely your gal. She's just another puppet of the failed establishment. She's Biden without the experience. A serious candidate doesn't avoid doing a real press conference and then sit down with a sex and dating podcaster.
Can you tell the daddy gang?
Yeah.
When people tell you no, when people look at you and doubt you, what does that ignite in you?
I don't hear no. I don't hear no. And I urge all the daddy gang, don't hear no.
A serious candidate doesn't choose to attack a popular governor who's been nothing but masterful in leading a state through crises and natural disasters. Here's Kamala off the cuff.
NBC is reporting Governor DeSantis is ignoring your calls on hurricanes, resources, and help. How does that hurt the situation here?
It's just utterly irresponsible, and it is selfish, and it is about political gamesmanship instead of doing the job that you took an oath to do, which is to put the people first.
Now, to call her response dim-witted is an insult to dimwits everywhere. She's not even smart enough to know not to pick a fight with someone who's both really smart and whose state is about to get hit by the worst hurricane in, what, a century?
We've been on an emergency footing for 2 weeks straight, round the clock, 24/7. She has never called on any of the storms we've had since she's been vice president until apparently now. Why all of a sudden is she trying to parachute in and inject herself when she's never shown any interest in the past? We know it's because of politics. We know it's because of her campaign. I have zero time to entertain these political games.
Again, Kamala's hurricane smear is just another fumble. A fumble by a player who never should have been put on the field in the first place. She's so bad that she makes Biden seem presidential and suddenly engaged. Engaged enough to let her twist in the wind.
The governor of Florida has been cooperative. He said he's gotten all that he needs. I talked to him again yesterday, and I said, no, you're doing a great job. It's all being done well. We thank you for it. And I literally gave my personal phone number to call.
Maybe Joe Biden is the one turning the page. Because even in his diminished state, he probably knows how unserious Kamala is. A serious candidate knows how to answer predictable questions.
Was democracy best served by President Biden stepping down and basically handing you a nomination? You didn't have to go through a primary process. You didn't have to fight off other contenders. That's not really the way our system was intended to work.
President Biden made a decision that I think history is going to show is rare among leaders, which was to put country before self. And I am proud to have earned the support of the vast majority of delegates and to have been elected the Democratic nominee.
But I think this truncated process is why people think or say they don't really know who you are.
Look, I've been in this race for 70 days. It is my responsibility to earn the vote, and I'm going to work to do that.
But increasingly, it looks like she's going to be relying on celebrity surrogates to do the heavy lifting for her.
I would really like it if the discourse could become kinder and more effective. And I think that will be the case with Kamala Harris and Tim Walz.
Hi, I'm Bruce Springsteen. I'm supporting Kamala Harris for president and Tim Walz for vice president and opposing Donald Trump and J.D. Vance.
Glory days have passed you by. And, you know, Democrats are desperately hoping that Taylor Swift and Obama somehow carry them to victory as well. I've even heard they're going to beg George W. Bush to endorse Kamala Harris. Well, here's the cold, hard truth. Harris is simply not capable of performing the type of functions that we as Americans associate with being the President of the United States. She doesn't understand the issues at the level of detail necessary to make effective decisions. She doesn't have the type of political support necessary to bend official Washington to her will. She doesn't have the type of judgment needed to read the moods of foreign leaders. None of that. Now, the Democrats already tried having a figurehead president with Biden, and it ended so badly that they fired him a few months ago. And yet now they're doing the same thing. Only she's even less serious at a time when we face countless serious challenges. And for us, that would spell serious trouble. And that's The Angle.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.